Welcome to a look into the future. What would you do if you can go to the future and ask yourself questions about how to grow your firm, how to transition to advisory services, and more? Luckily, we can just ask the time traveler himself, Paul Latham, and learn the knowledge we need at our firms to evolve into advisory services and become the most relevant advisor to our clients. Paul brings three amazing things with him. Number one, he's built a successful accounting practice in the UK. So he understands accountants. In fact, he built his firm into an advisory powerhouse, which sold for an impressive $45 million way back in 2001. Number two, he's taken a business public, building it to a market value in excess of $400 million. So he really understands what business owners need and value and what us as accountants need to provide to them. And finally, as I said, third, we don't need to invent time travel or the flux capacitor. We can just ask Paul and learn from the transition he made 20 years ago in the UK into providing business advisory services, as that trend is here today in the US. I'm Garrett Wagner, your Entrepreneurial CPA Channel host, and I'm excited to be joined by the legendary Paul Latham of Hayden Rock Solutions. Now, Paul, welcome back as always. And last time, you talked about, the process and the how, the now, the where strategy, kind of that 3 steps for working with clients. And since we last spoke, I've been thinking more and more about that. I remember hearing you said that business has to decide to do 3 things: grow, deliver, measure. And then you briefly mentioned, with regard to grow specifically, there's only 4 ways to grow a business. And I love that concept of 4 ways to grow a business. And I've been dying to hear your insight on those 4 ways to grow a business. So take it away, Paul.
Hi, Garrett. Yeah, the 4 ways to grow a business, it's actually a really great concept. It helps you to direct the conversation with your clients. But it's a really simple concept, and it's one that I've used in every business I've owned over the last 30 odd years or so. And just in overview, the 4 ways to grow are: 1, you either have to get or win more new customers; 2, do more transactions with your existing customers; 3, increase the average dollar value per transaction; or 4, just get more efficient. And in any business, it'll be some combination of those 4 things which will drive the how of the growth strategy. So probably best if I explain the logic behind those 4 ways to grow. And the first couple of things to say is, it's real simple. In any business, if you're trying to create a profit, it stands to reason that you start from revenue minus costs, because revenue less costs equals profit. So if you're trying to grow a business or grow a business profit, obviously you either have to increase revenue or reduce costs. So if we start with revenue, which is obviously the more interesting part of this, revenue is just comprised of those 3 things that I just went through, and it's really just a math fact. If you're talking to any business client, you can pretty much guarantee that the revenue in their business or in any particular period is comprised of 3 elements. And by the way, it's comprised to the cent. That revenue is the number of their customers multiplied by the average number of transactions per customer in that period, multiplied by the average dollar value per transaction. So if you're going to grow revenue, you've got to do one of 3 things. You've either got to increase the number of customers, or you've got to do more things, more transactions with the customers you've already got, or you've got to increase the average dollar value per transaction. Does that make sense with regard to revenue, Garrett?
Yeah, that's kind of like, it helps us as accountants feel comfortable with, hey, this isn't some magical voodoo. We as accountants, we can relate perfectly to this. But as you were talking, Paul, it made me wonder, what about other ways of growing, like an acquisition? How does acquisition fit into this mold?
Yeah, and actually, you're saying there, Garrett, something that people always say. They come up with those types of examples, and an acquisition is a good one. But if you think about it, why does any business do an acquisition? And the bottom line is, ultimately, if you're doing an acquisition of the business or another business, then you're probably doing that either to acquire new customers, or perhaps that business has some sort of product or services that you can then apply to your existing customers that allows you to do more transactions with those existing customers, or perhaps increase the average dollar value per transaction. So what you're actually doing there, Garrett, is you're beginning to brainstorm. Essentially, an acquisition could be a way of winning new customers or doing more transactions or increasing the average dollar value. And basically, the idea behind the 4 ways to grow a business model is that it's a thought prompt. So if your immediate thought is, for example, we're going to win new customers, then you get into, so how are we going to do that? And it could be the organic route, going out and winning them in the usual way, or it could be the acquisition route, as you've just illustrated. And so it becomes that thought prompt, and then you can begin to build a plan from there. And then, in terms of how we do that, we can go through a force field planning tool, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that other day story. So you kind of went through the 3 ways there. And like I said, I really like for us accountants, here's our role. You hit the nail on the head is to kind of ask questions and drive that of, well, how do you grow your business? Which of these ways? So you went through 3. What's the 4th way to grow your business?
Yeah. So as I said before, Garrett, if you're trying to grow profits, it either has to be by growing revenue or it has to be reducing costs. And so the 4th way is all about reducing costs. And ultimately, you're either reducing costs in terms of the cost of revenue delivery, which ultimately increases your gross margin. You get more efficient at the point of delivery, increase gross margin, or you're just reducing the cost of overheads to increase the profit. And without going into too much detail, there are 7 ways to do that. But we're getting into a bit of detail there. Maybe best to talk about that another time. But the point about then, it's a thought prompt. How do we get more efficient? Go through those 7 ways, begin to build a plan from there. And the whole point of this is to coach accountants and CPAs to be able to, what I call, lead the conversation. Because once you've gone into that whole concept of 4 ways to grow a business, as we've just done very briefly there, suddenly you're having an hour or two's conversation with your client, and you're leading the conversation. And it's very logical. And as you said before, Garrett, it's a very comfortable concept for most accountants because it's so logical.
And I love that. I love that. You hit the nail perfectly on the head at the end there. It's that logical way to have that thought-driven conversation. And that's what advisory service is about. It's conversations looking to be proactive and to be relevant to your clients, not looking to the past, looking to the future. So thank you, Paul, as always. An amazing topic, 4 ways to grow your business, and some great talking points on how we as accountants need to feel more comfortable being the coach, the advisor to our clients. Now, I know sometimes, Paul, when we talk about things behind scenes, we're surprised that most CPA firms we talk with are not ready for the future. And especially, they don't even realize it. We think you need to know where you stand today. Is your firm ready for the future and the shift into becoming the most relevant advisor? Take a minute of your time and sign up for your own biz survey and get a free objective assessment of how prepared your firm is for the future. As a special offer for watching this show, we'll provide you with the results of your biz score and a quick pub meeting, as Paul likes to say, to review the results. There's a link below, and it'll be followed all the social media posting. Take the test and see how ready your firm is for future success. I want to thank everyone for watching today's episode. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, we challenge you today to take action to change the world and invest in yourself.